Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, today we start off with electricity. Well, yes, we know that the new government has said that they rolled out their target, of course, their campaign promise, how they intend to get as much as 40,000 megawatts in 8 years, and they're having several meetings about that. But it was only yesterday where the NERC did say that they were going to revoke the licenses of non-performing firms, those who have gotten those licenses. But before then, we've had the vice president talk about what dubious, or is it bogus contracts that were awarded and several years ago, but still being worked on now. It's part of the reasons why we're where we are today with electricity. Well, we're joined now by Professor Frank Okafor, who is a professor of Power and Control Engineering, University of Lagos. So take a look at some of these plans and see how possible they can be. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much.
Well, they're well intended, this government, as they put it, that they intend to ensure that we have at least uninterrupted power supply, maybe breaking it down to 5,000 megawatts every year. You're an expert in this. How do you see this coming to be?
Well, it's a good dream. I can't see it not happening. It is possible. But whether there is plan or infrastructure in place to get that done as we speak, I will be constrained to say that is not so. But whether they will be able to put something in place to achieve that at least for the next 2 years, I think that is possible. It takes two things, actually. One is good planning. Of course, the next is the will. Before we even talk of money, there has to be good planning and there has to be the will to pursue whatever plan that comes on board. Have
you been perhaps privy to any of their plans? Because I hear them talk about this embedded power generation technique as to augment what we have already in order to not to concentrate everything on the grid.
Well, with due respect, my brother, embedded power generation is a stopgap. It's not, it's the icing. It's not the real thing. It's not the cake. You know, the reason is this. Embedded power are small quanta of electricity generation at relatively very low level. And there are a lot of issues. I will give you an example. The NEC is very interested in renewable now. So a lot of people are coming in with solar power generation of 50, 100 megawatts, some wind and all that. But one thing remains clear. Once solar power gets beyond 50, it becomes too cumbersome to have batteries to be able to store the power when there's no sunlight. So what these new, I would say, entrants are doing is to, for instance, generate 100 megawatts in the afternoon. And during the night, there's no power. So some 100 megawatts has to come from somewhere during the night to be able to make up for that. And remember, there are a few technical issues, like, for instance, there is a cloud cover in the afternoon. So the 100 megawatts, those dives to about 30 within 1 minute or even to 0. How do you address such a situation?
But countries that are making use of that system, haven't they been able to come up with a way to address it, which we can also look at and modify?
And modify or even borrow. Yeah, very good. You see, let's take the big ones like the U.S. The U.S. ordinarily generates 1.1 billion megawatts. I mean 1.1 billion gigawatts. Okay, we are generating 3 point something. So what am I? Yeah, we are generating 3 point something gigawatts. So compared with 1.1 billion, so there is excess. There is always power to cushion situations I've just mentioned. You know, there's a lot of designs. Actually, that's my core area. The wind power conversion is part of my core area of research. You know, so I know what happens. There's the so-called fall-through issues you have to address. So I would say that it's a stopgap. Embedded generation, let's look at gas. So you get gas from GasLink, for instance, and then you generate 15 megawatts. You supply it to a disco or Ikeja disco, whoever, and then they sell. That's premium power. It has to come at a cost higher than the utility power. So who do you sell it to?
And there are lots of consumers who you can sell it to.
Yes, but they have to agree to pay that extra.
Who pays the extra?
The consumer. Who is going to pay it? So it's not the, but if you get the normal power at 11 naira per unit, for instance, that one might come to about 12, 13.
But is there a sense that consumers are not willing to pay? Because what we see is that, look, they just say, provide the service, we can pay.
Yes, I agree with you. But you can talk to some of these discos. They are experienced. You see, the man can pay as long as he's paying the same thing with you. So there's that. I mean, even people you never knew would complain. Had complained, I mean, why is this man paying 10 naira, I'm paying 12? And we are getting power from the same source. You know, so that is the challenge they're trying to address. Now, if you would have seen an advert by, I think, Ikeja Disco yesterday, that's the challenge they're trying to address.
Let's go back to some of the issues. And I'm so excited you said your expertise also touches on wind turbine, because we tried to look at it when we had a guest or some other time last month, and we tried to see the possibility of bringing this. How feasible is this in the country? Is this something that we can put in all parts of the country, or it is tilted towards some specific geopolitical zones?
We cannot go around, of course. You know, you live in Lagos, and when there's no NEPA, you come out. How much wind do you experience when you come out of your room? I mean, these are practical cases. You know, yes, along the shores, maybe. You know, in the far north, some parts of the north, you can get reasonable wind. You know, I mean, I lived in Germany for some time. If I had any reason to just come out of the corridor, you know, you see wind almost, 24 hours a day throughout the year.